You are listening to Future Voices, a podcast brought to you by BH Futures Foundation.
Hello everyone, Eddie Trustovic here and welcome to another episode of Futures Voices. We are now in season 2, episode 4, and I don't know what's going on, but my team keeps bringing in amazing guests, and this time we have another exciting guest. This guest is actually based in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm not going to tell you too much about what he does, but I will tell you this. He is building an internationally recognizable brand in Bosnia and Herzegovina that is reaching global markets. You may have heard of Gazzda furniture and how it found its way into over 30 countries around the world, from the United States, Scandinavia, Taiwan, Australia, Mauritius, and other parts of the world. It adorns numerous homes, restaurants, hotels, Louis Vuitton stores, Google and Netflix offices, and probably a whole lot more that I haven't heard about yet. The brain behind the operation is the founder and CEO, Zlatko Tanovic, and he is our guest today. Zlatko, welcome to Futures Voices.
Thank you very much, and it's great to be here.
Well, it's a real pleasure to have you here, and I have so many questions for you, but my friends have told me that we have limited time, so I'm going to get stuck right into things. How did you come up with the name Gazzda?
The name Gazzda, well, it is very, let's say, spontaneous, because me and my friends would always call each other Gazzda, but in Dutch. So I grew up in the Netherlands, and we would always be like, when something is good, we would say it's a Gazzda thing, or it's a Gazzda chair, or it's Gazzda something. And when I moved to Bosnia, I just translated that to Bosnian, and especially with my friend and partner in the company, Kenny, who is a Dutch guy, came back. He moved actually to Bosnia for this company. But when we started to work with a third partner, Zlatko Tanovic, who is also our main designer. Then, of course, he doesn't speak Dutch, so we called each other Gazzda all the time. And when we were about to file the name, we were kind of out of ideas, and we just thought, like, we call each other Gazzda all the time. Whenever a chair is good, we say it's a Gazzda chair. So that way we just didn't focus too much on what it's going to be, and we just went for it, not to lose sleepless nights over a name. And then it just stuck with us, and we went with it. So that's kind of the story behind it.
Yeah, very, very interesting story that it was so spontaneous. I'm sure people must have thought how much creative work went into coming up with the name and then adding the extra Z in the name. An interesting thought as well.
That was because of the website,
Nice.
because Gazzda with 2 Z's was free. .com. So,
okay, there's a real reason behind it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the functional reason behind it, but also we thought it would stick more if it has 2 Z's, and that's why we went for it.
Absolutely, and then very interesting background to it as well. So Zlatko, I'm not sure how many people know of your whole story, but just briefly, I know that you left Sarajevo as a kid during the war, and you spent a lot of time in the Netherlands. I think what's most fascinating for me and what I really appreciate about you is your work ethic and your drive. And I've read numerous times and heard from colleagues as well. You started working at a very early age. I was very much the same. Learned to earn very early in my life. Can you tell me a little bit about that work ethic? Where did that work ethic come from? Was it the fact that you had to work in the Netherlands to prove yourself, to show that you can do things? And how did you keep that drive going?
I grew up there in a small village called Roelofarensveen. And this village is, I think, quite let's say, practical. And parents, even if they're from wealthy houses, so my friends who have wealthy parents, at one point when they're 13 or 14, they tell them to go to work. and they don't get a lot of money anymore. So you really have to earn for yourself, and that it's kind of a I don't know, I think a cultural thing that is very specific for that area. I'm not sure if it's for the whole of the Netherlands. I didn't live in that many places for long, at least. I lived in many places for very short while I was a refugee, but I stayed mostly in Roelvaarensveen, and there it's just culture to start working when you're 13. So their parents didn't give them much. My parents didn't have much, so it was kind of like all your friends are working also, and you have to work to do everything that they're doing. So yeah, from an early age, you just start mostly picking flowers and cutting flowers or planting flowers, because it's really the flower area over there and nearby Aalsmeer, the big, let's say, fair, or not fair, but I forgot what the name is for it. So yeah, mainly worked in flowers the first few years, and later on had lots of other jobs. And it's kind of like very normal to work while being at school, and also while studying. And later on, yeah, that just stuck with me. So I've been, yeah, I never took a like a sabbatical year or a half year or whatever. Like I've been always working.
So you kept busy. You kept busy the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, everybody laughs at me quite a lot. They say I'm a workaholic, and that it's not healthy for me. But for me, it's just like very normal to work. And yeah, I have to say it's part of your life. And why make it a negative part of your life if it's anyway necessary? So for me, I like my job. I like to work. And yeah, it's just part of life.
Well, they do say that if you love what you do, you never actually work a day in your life because you don't perceive it as work. And I think you perceive what you do as something that you're creating and you enjoy it. And I'm sure when you wake up in the morning, you actually can't wait to get into it because there's so much interesting stuff going on. But on that point, how much of these different professions that you had as a teenager, how much influence did that play into your business mindset and actually the drive behind Gazzda?
Yeah, I think it definitely influenced me because while being a waiter, you need to have a lot of sense for service. So you clean up after people. You try to make them feel good at the place where you work, and yeah, you get some kind of customer service background through a job like that. And I also used to have a job in a call center. So I worked for 2 years as a debt collector, kind of like calling people that they had to pay a specific invoice. Like it's mainly what I was calling were companies actually that were owning money to Dell computers or anything like that. So you learn to speak with a lot of people over the phone, and you just don't have any pause actually before just picking up the phone and doing something. So I think that those two jobs, if I look back to it, like I wasn't really aware of that while doing those jobs, but while looking back at it now, I think that those two things really influenced me quite well for my job right now.
Absolutely. And the reason I brought this question up, because too many young people in Bosnia don't understand the value of doing jobs that may not be directly perceived to be connected to your future career pathway, and the importance of developing a broader set of skills for the future. You just don't know what you're going to get into. So thank you for sharing that with our listeners as well. Zlatko, let's get
started. And if I can just say something about that, because one of my observations for Bosnia and especially Sarajevo, because that's where I live, is that I'm trying to change that. at least with parents. So it starts from not wanting your kid to do a low job like that in their view. And most of my friends who are parents now, they would also say like, I would never let my kid be a waiter, or I would never let my kid work in a store or something like that. And that is something that yeah, for me helped quite a lot. And yeah, to change that culture is something that I think would be very beneficial for a city or a country like Bosnia. Yeah.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I've gone through that myself numerous times and had numerous arguments with parents as well regarding this matter.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that needs a collective action and influence over a longer period of time to change the perception of how certain work experiences can actually help you in your career as opposed to be a hamper. It's not all about studying and being in the books,
right,
as we were formerly taught.
Yeah, right.
In the past. But thanks for sharing that a lot. I really appreciate the fact that you're making that effort outside of your day-to-day activities. But speaking of your day-to-day activities, I want to talk about Gazzda, and I want to talk about the sense of direction for the organization. You know, I think Bosnians have a natural, tendency to love the brand because it's not only a quality brand, it's not only very attractive, but it's Bosnian. And there's a sense of patriotism and probably a bit of patriotic bias. But how do people perceive Gazzda, the brand, internationally? We know that you have a lot of sales to 30, 40 countries around the world, but can you talk us through some of those experiences with international clients? For me, it's always fascinating when a Bosnian product that was made, designed, and shipped out of Bosnia is held in someone's hands, or figuratively speaking, is being enjoyed by someone in Thailand, in Australia, in Scandinavia, in the United States. Talk us through that. Talk us through how people perceive the brand.
I can tell you about my first experience with Gazzda on an international furniture fair in Cologne, where we have been working for 2 years of just creating products that we really thought people would love, at least the things that we really loved ourselves to make. And then after 2 years, that was kind of like the first test, although we already had some customers in that period, but in 2015, that was really our first presence on the market. Like the first time we really went out with end branding, but especially with our products to be seen in real life. And I remember the days before the event, I was just dreaming or having nightmares that nobody would come on our stand, because I was like, yeah, why would we be important next to like this many? I think there are a few thousand exhibitors on that fair. And during build up of the stand, there are already like a few people coming in and looking at what new companies there are or what old companies are doing. And yeah, on the Monday at 9 o'clock when the fair opened, lots of people that have been there on the Sundays and the Saturdays, just spying on what was going on. They were there immediately, and like all my yeah, I can't say really negative thought, but it's just like maybe fresh or healthy scare of maybe it won't work. Yeah, it was immediately canceled because we got such great response from them. Like, what is this? Like, we really saw you from the corner or whatever, and we thought like we need to be here as first. And people were really, without explaining, actually understand the philosophy of the design of the product. And yeah, I can't really say a lot of somebody's emotions that live with our furniture or that have or maybe don't live with it but see it. but yeah, I of course or get super positive response of people that they love it because of yeah, they have a bond with the piece at home, or of course I get the negative one if something breaks. So there is a quite a balance of those two things in the responses that I get, of course.
Yeah, I can't help it but feel very, very proud in this moment listening to you talk about those early stages and the early wins that you got, and the sense of pride that you would have felt knowing that product that you've come up with is being recognized and really being absorbed by the general public in the way that you've described it. It's quite fascinating, and I'm very, very proud of the achievements. I also have heard you saying something very important, which a lot of people skip over, and that is that in the early phases of the company, just like many other companies in Bosnia and brands, it was seen to be selling cheap labor. And then you turn that around from being cheap labor orientated, or at least perceived, to creating elite products that have proper margins and that are respected in the global market. Now, this sounds relatively easy to do on paper, but it's very difficult to change that perception once you've established your price point. Can you talk us through the strategy? And of course, a lot of risk was taken in doing that. So talk us through how you went about changing that perception to where you are today, which is a quality recognized product as opposed to just cheap labor working on wood.
In my earlier career, I was also working as a consultant for some projects, and one of those was a development agency that had as a goal to promote import from Bosnia to EU countries and Switzerland. And one of the main strategies was cheap labor. And my logic was just like, if Bosnia is a developing country, one day it will be developed, and then you anyway have actually lose the unique selling point of having cheap labor. So my thought was just like we should invest not in attracting people like that, but attracting people through great products, putting any kind of extra value in anything that we do. So I think that my view on that started to create Gazzda in my head maybe back then. I can't pinpoint it exactly, but I guess it was definitely a big part of that. And when we started Gazzda, we were mainly focused on the aesthetics of the product and just really elevating any space that it would be in. And of course, such products are not the cheapest to make and are not the competing on price. And therefore, we really saw a great position of not competing on price, but really competing on the product. So yeah, that is in short how that started and the logic behind it. And yeah, of course, during the years, you like we have also moved from more like an accessible premium to a premium price for several products. Yeah, just as the brand is evolving, we add more price points to our assortment.
And I also heard that you spent the first few years really building up the products that you needed to be able to hit the global market. How many products does Gazzda currently have on its offering?
Oh, I don't know this out of my head because that is changing all the time. I think that we are in the neighborhood of 65 unique ones, but all of them have different variations. So if I look to SKUs in our system, that is about 100,000, but those are all kind of versions like a chair that you can furnish in 10 types of fabrics with 20 colors. So yeah, you hit that number of SKUs that way. but unique ones, I would say 65.
Still very impressive to be able to have that many offerings and now have those offerings being placed all over the world. How difficult is it to run a business like Gazzda? I believe you have something like 40 or 40 more employees. You have 60 plus products with, hundreds of different variations available. Talk us through, how do you run the business? How does it run in general in the background? Because from the front end, it looks pretty, it looks great, the products are loved by people, but in the back end, there's a lot of work being done to get things out. We'd love to get a little sneak peek into what happens behind closed doors.
Well, that answer can be very long, but I will try to be as short as possible. We create products, and from the start we were mainly focused on the design of the products. But when we went into production, it became evident for us, because none of us has real experience on building up a brand and doing the technical part of every product and the marketing side of every product. So we really thought that by designing the form of the product, that would be our main, let's say, our main work. But later on, or very early on, actually, we really found out that we have to go into every detail, like which screws are we using, which fasteners are we using, what type of oil, what type, like how is every process being made. And then every product actually has a ton of technical documentation behind it. Like if you would see that, like you kind of don't know where to start looking at every document that is provided through for every product internally. And you can manage that with a small team and not a lot of products. But when you start having more and more products and even higher and higher, let's say, standards for your documentation and for production processes, there you have to hire people, of course, that have to really learn that process and understand that every part of that is very important in the whole chain. And it's not that easy to find experienced people who do that, because there are not a lot of companies that in Sarajevo, at least, or in Bosnia, that design and make the technical part of the product and produce and do the logistics or distribution of it, and do sales of it, so placing it on the market, doing the marketing of it, and actually keeping it on the market. So I call it a relationship of information internally in our company, and that is actually from development of the product to placement of the product on the market, and to actually servicing that product on the market or keeping it on the market. Those three parts are actually a circle, and a company or our product is being actually renewed all the time to achieve some product market fit. And we have a team that needs to do that, and sometimes it's hard to explain that it does matter, because people need experience in that to really see that if one part of the product is not drawn well, it can, like we in the office maybe know what to do, but the person in the factory needs to know what to do. And that communication needs to be done through all phases, very organized and with a lot of care and precision. So yeah, that is how it's done. It's not impossible, and we're doing it. But yeah, you really need to work on it and to explain how important it is.
No doubt about it.
To be consistent in the whole process.
And you mentioned briefly, the importance of getting the right people in, and it's not that easy to find the right people in a country with a few million people rather than tens of millions of people, access to European markets, labor markets. I know you managed to bring, your teenage friend from the Netherlands to Bosnia. Have you been able to attract anyone else from the international market space to come to Bosnia and work in Bosnia? Recently, there's been a lot of this push for certain people from the diaspora to come back and work in companies that are building global brands. Have you had any luck? Is that something that's part of your strategy going into the future, given the fact that the labor market in Bosnia may not be the ideal case to offer what you need?
Well, I have to say, in a company, there are a few people that have lived abroad and have maybe that experience. But I can't really say that it's been that I've been successful in finding diaspora that would fit in the talent that we needed at those points. Like from time to time, we used to have some people come for maybe an internship or like, let's say, a customer service job, but we never really had the opportunity to find people or let's say in sales or in technical development that have some kind of experience abroad that they could bring in here. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but we just didn't have that experience.
Of course, but now that we have so many people listening,
I did bring in. Sorry,
if so many people listening to us now, maybe there's an opportunity for people to know that you guys are doing such exciting stuff and that you are growing and expanding, just like a few other companies that we speak to as well. Here's an opportunity for all of our listeners. If you have someone in your network that would fit into what Gazzda is involved in, and you heard so many different types of roles in the organization, you're probably a good idea to reach out to Zlatko and see how you can collaborate.
Yeah, great. My email is zlatko@gazzda.com. So
there you go, guys. So there's an opportunity.
Quite an easy one to remember. So you can email me directly.
Fantastic. Let's touch on a couple of more topics before we finish up. You recently opened up a flagship store in Sarajevo. It's very visible. It's very, very attractive. It has certain features that are very attractive and draw people in. I wanted to get the emotional side from you. What does it mean to you, for someone who obviously spent early childhood in Sarajevo, went abroad, dreamt about coming back to Bosnia? I read that numerous times. Comes back to Bosnia, builds this incredible brand, and then opens up this flagship store in Sarajevo. What did that mean for you personally?
I don't really sit and think about that. So for me, it's like a moving train, and it's just something that I don't really sit and appreciate. But yeah, like the reaction that I get is actually what I was trying to accomplish, and that like there are a few people that are coming in and telling me like, you really made the city nicer, or saying that we're changing any perspective on the interior. So for me, that is the compliment. That is great to hear, but my goal is really to. We opened it up for a few reasons, of course. One of them is internal, to let internal people that work here actually feel the product in a great space, because a lot of people have seen our products just moving in boxes or in productions, or in very rare occasions in interiors. So we really needed that for internal reasons, but also for us it was a lot of local people would ask us, "Hey, where can I see it? Where can we feel the product?" And we never really had a place where we could meet with our clients and they could really see what we do. And yeah, we just wanted to create that space and to finally have something that we designed ourselves. So let's say every space has been prepared the way that we think an interior should look like with our furniture. And yeah, it's a rare case that you see that, because in the showrooms where we expose in Europe, let's say, you are always restricted with the spots you get. Like there can be maybe only 3 products available, or maybe in some really great samples, we have like 40 square meter or 60 square meter. But yeah, over here we are on I think almost 1,000 square meter of spaces where you can really enjoy the atmosphere and really like experience it room by room. And yeah, for me that was the goal, and I never really sit still and think about, wow, we achieved this, but it's just like one part of the process.
Yeah, I can appreciate the fact that you are moving a million miles an hour, doing so many things, thinking about the future, that you don't have a moment to pause and enjoy, and I guess look back on what you've achieved. But I'm sure at some point you'll have that moment happen, and then you'll really take an appreciation for what's been achieved. My last question to you, Zlatko, is obviously you've taken Gazzda from an idea, from a concept, to a company that is now very profitable, selling products to numerous countries around the world. The brand is growing. You now have a flagship store. I'm sure many people are curious to know what's next. Where do you see the company in the next 3, 5, 10 years? Where would you like to take it?
Wow. So yeah, we are moving more and more into becoming a lifestyle brand. At least that is our wish, where we are really able to make more and more products that our audiences like. And yeah, but it's very hard for me to say what it will look like from the eyes of the audience. Like, really, it has to happen still. But yeah, our DNA is in creating products, create just products that are adding some value in anybody's space, and that is what we're doing, and we will see where it brings us. But yeah, if you ask me how are we going to bring it to more and more viewers or users, that is mainly our marketing efforts, which have been on a very, let's say, low pace, because we have never been really able to do a lot of marketing efforts. We only had like 1 or 2 people in the marketing team till now, and we were doing more or less the bare minimum of what we need to do. So we were mainly focused on our dealer network and expanding through dealers, and now we're moving more and more to consumer. So to really try to find our ways, find the channels of how we can be directly seen by consumers instead of banking on the visibility that we see or that we have through our dealer network. And that is one of the bigger steps that we need to take. We also invested last year in a new facility for the production. We are going on with those things, but I think that those things speak for themselves, that we are doing that. Like the things that will be more visible for people outside our organization, which is more or less everybody besides 40 people, that will be in a higher visibility actually towards people. But we will still keep doing our base things, and that is creating products.
And super exciting. I'm going to be very closely following what you guys are up to, and I'm sure many other people are. And I believe a lot of Bosnians and Herzegovinians who are coming to Sarajevo will take a sense of pride walking by, driving by, or stepping in to experience Gazzda furniture and what you guys are creating, that lifestyle. I think there's going to be a sense of pride that this is a Bosnian product and it's being shipped globally. And we're all very excited to cheer you on, just like we cheer on the national football team or basketball team or anything else that Bosnians and Herzegovinians achieve. We're cheering on for you, Zlatko, and for the Gazzda team to go and take this thing to the next level. But congratulations on everything that you've achieved. It's quite incredible to go from that idea to where you are today. Zlatko, just some final words for our listeners. Where should they be going to experience the product? Can you tell us the location for those that have not had a chance to step in, and also maybe some of your social media that people can follow?
It's on Otoka. I don't know if everybody knows where Otoka is that comes to Sarajevo, but when you just search on Google Maps for Gazzda, you will definitely see the location. And probably if you are going from the airport towards the city, you will see it on your left-hand side at the main road, where you will definitely see the flagship store. I don't think you can miss it. But in general, like the address is Generala Mehmeda Alagića 4, and it's on Otoka across from the Olympic pool. And everybody is welcome. You really don't have to buy anything. One of our things is just like walk by, have a coffee, walk on your own for a while. If you need some help, we're here. That's more or less it. We really understand that for the people that are coming from outside of Bosnia, that it's hard to take any product with them from here. But we also really like to have people over and to hear what they think about what we do. So everybody is welcome. We're open from 10 to 6. That's more or less it.
Well, I think I'll definitely be stopping by, and I think everyone that walks through that has a pride and sense of belonging to Bosnia and Herzegovina will automatically become an ambassador of the brand globally. So I think it's a good thing for people to walk in, regardless of whether you're buying or not. But I think once you see the products, it'll be difficult to say no to purchasing one or getting a piece of Gazzda in some part of your house or around your living domain. Zlatko Tanovic, the founder and CEO of Gazzda Furniture, incredible story of an individual who's spent time abroad, like many of us, come back to Bosnia, established a brand that is now recognizable across the world. Zlatko, thank you so much for spending some time here with us on Futures Voices. It's a real pleasure to hear your story, and we wish you all the very best as you take this organization to the next level.
Thanks a lot, Eddie. It was really a pleasure for me, a great experience, and I don't do this often, like I told you at the start. But it's a great experience for me, and it's also great to hear sometimes from outsiders like that they know the brand or have seen anything about it, and to also hear your experience with it. So thanks a lot for inviting me, and it will really be a pleasure to host you here. And
looking forward to stepping into the facility
next time when you're here in Sarajevo.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. And I invite everyone who's listening to our podcast to make some time and go and check out what Gazzda is doing. You won't be disappointed. That's it for this episode of Futures Voices, guys. We're looking forward to having you on our next podcast. Who's going to be our guest? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see. Goodbye, everyone.